Guy drives a 2006 Toyota Camry with 180,000 miles, wears Costco jeans, lives in a modest 3-bedroom house in a regular neighborhood. Nobody suspects anything. His net worth? $3.2 million. His neighbor leases a Mercedes, wears Gucci everything, and lives in a McMansion with a mortgage he can barely afford. Everyone assumes he's crushing it financially. Net worth? Negative $40,000. Drowning in debt while performing for strangers at the grocery store. A real millionaire is completely invisible. Fake millionaire performing for an audience that doesn't care. And here's what nobody tells you. You're surrounded by secret millionaires who've mastered the art of modesty while you're busy being impressed by people performing poverty with luxury logos. I'm breaking down 7 subtle signs someone is secretly wealthy. The quiet behaviors and choices that reveal real money without saying a word. Stick to the end because sign 7 shows what wealthy people actually value once they stop caring about impressing anyone. Hit subscribe and comment "I know one" if you've met someone like this, or drop "secretly wealthy" if this quietly describes you. Now let me show you the first sign that separates real wealth from expensive performance. Sign 1. They drive old cars, but everything else is quality. First sign, and it's the most visible one everyone misses. The car. Society has trained us to judge financial success by what someone drives. An expensive car equals success. An old car equals struggling. Wrong. Completely backwards for actual wealthy people. Here's the pattern. Secretly wealthy people drive cars that are 8 to 15 years old, always paid off, never had a car payment in their life. Reliable brands like Toyota, Honda, and Lexus, maintained absolutely impeccably. But the car itself? Ancient by American standards. You'd never guess they have money based on their transportation. But here's the critical distinction most people miss. Everything else they own is quality. Not flashy, not branded, but quality. Their watch? Expensive but understated. No giant logo. Their clothes? Fit perfectly. High-quality fabrics, but you won't see any designer names screaming at you. Their home? Well-maintained. Everything works perfectly, but it's not massive. The pattern is quality everywhere, except the one thing that depreciates fastest, the car. This is the opposite of what broke people do. A broke person has a new leased car because that's what everyone sees. But everything else in their life is falling apart. Cheap furniture, clothes from fast fashion, appliances are breaking constantly, house or apartment barely maintained. They spent all their money on the one visible status symbol, while everything else screams struggle. A wealthy person is exactly reversed. The car is old because cars are depreciating assets, and they'd rather have $50,000 invested than driven. But their shoes? Quality leather, just not branded. Their furniture? Solid hardwood that'll last 30 years, not particle board from IKEA. Their home maintenance? Everything works perfectly because they handle problems immediately instead of letting them compound. The woman drove a 2003 Honda Accord for 14 years. Neighbors genuinely pitied her, whispered about how she must be struggling financially. Poor thing can't even afford a decent car. Meanwhile, her home was immaculate. Furniture was quality hardwood, clothes fit perfectly with 0 logos anywhere. Shoes were expensive, leather, completely understated. Everything is maintained in quality except that ancient Honda. Finally revealed when she retired at 54 that she had $2.4 million invested. Her neighbor with the leased BMW? Still working at 68, will work until 75, maybe longer. The old Honda wasn't a poverty signal that everyone assumed it was. It was a wealth signal that everyone completely missed because they were judging the wrong thing. Wealthy people spend money on things that appreciate or last for decades, not on depreciating status symbols that lose half their value in 3 years. The old paid-off car combined with quality everything else, that's the secret millionaire pattern hiding in plain sight. They're choosing investments over impressions, and they're comfortable enough with themselves not to care what strangers at red lights think about their transportation. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here, because the car is what you see first, but this next behavior pattern reveals even more about their actual financial position. Sign 2. They ask about prices, but always buy what they want. Here's a behavior that confuses everyone. You're at a store. Someone asks detailed questions about pricing. How much is this? What's the cost difference between these two? Can you explain the pricing structure? Most people assume that person is broke. If you have to ask the price, you can't afford it, right? Wrong. That's actually how wealthy people shop. And here's the critical distinction that separates them from both broke people and people trying to look rich. A secretly wealthy person always asks about prices, compares options, evaluates value carefully, might even negotiate, but when they decide something is worth it, they buy immediately without hesitation. No financing questions, no payment plan discussions, just decision made, transaction complete, done. Compare that to someone trying to look rich. They never ask prices because their ego can't handle it. Asking about cost feels poor to them, so they just buy things blindly and figure out how to pay for them later. Usually with credit cards, they can't afford them. Their ego is more expensive than the actual purchase. And then there's the actually broke person. They ask about prices, desperately hoping something's affordable. Get the answer. Can't proceed. Leave empty-handed. Their price questions are driven by necessity, not value calculation. The wealthy person's price questions are completely different. They're not asking, can I afford this? They're asking, is this worth it? Massive difference. They can afford anything in the store. They're calculating value. Will this item provide sufficient utility for the cost? Is this price fair, or am I being ripped off? These are the questions of someone who stayed wealthy by not making stupid purchases. A man is shopping for furniture. Asked extremely detailed questions about every piece. Where's it made? What's the construction method? How long will it last? What's the price for each configuration? Negotiated for about 10 minutes. The sales guy assumed he was broke and wasting time. Finally negotiated 12% off. Then immediately paid $8,400 in cash without flinching. The salesperson was shocked. The manager came over later and said, "That guy's loaded." I can always tell. Poor people trying to look rich never ask prices. Ego won't let them. Actually, wealthy people always ask because that's how they got wealthy and stayed wealthy. They calculate the value of everything. Guy owned $3.1 million in real estate. Asked prices constantly because every purchase is a value calculation. Negotiated because why would you voluntarily overpay? Paid cash immediately when satisfied because financing expenses you cannot afford is stupid. His price consciousness wasn't poverty. It was the exact behavior that built and maintained wealth. If someone never asks prices, they're either loaded enough that nothing in normal stores matters, or they're broke, trying to perform wealth through ego. But if someone asks detailed price questions and then buys without hesitation when satisfied, that's secret wealth, calculating value while everyone assumes poverty. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to, because price consciousness reveals their math. But this next sign reveals something even more valuable they're not announcing. Sign 3. They have unusual time freedom, but don't brag about it. Here's the sign most people completely miss because it's not about what they have. It's about what they have access to that nobody talks about. Time. Specifically, unexplained calendar flexibility that never gets mentioned or explained. Pay attention to this pattern. Someone's consistently available on Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon. No stress about it. No, let me check with my boss. No, I'll have to use PTO. Just available, repeatedly. Wednesday morning coffee? Sure. Thursday afternoon hike? Yeah, that works. Friday lunch? Absolutely. And they never explain how they have this time. This is completely different from someone unemployed and stressed about it. An unemployed person mentions money problems, talks about job hunting, shows anxiety about the future, has time but clearly wishes they didn't. The secretly wealthy person has unlimited time and zero stress signals about it. Calm, available, no explanations offered. Here's why wealthy people don't announce their time freedom. They don't need validation from your reaction. Saying, "I don't have to work," invites questions they don't want to answer. Creates awkwardness. Potentially invites requests for money. So they just quietly have time. Let people assume whatever they want. Maybe they think you're employed with flexible hours. Maybe they think you work nights. Doesn't matter. The wealthy person isn't correcting assumptions. The giveaway is consistency plus calm. Anyone can be available once, but repeatedly available on weekdays without stress or explanation? That's financial independence nobody's announcing. They're traveling Tuesday through Thursday when flights are cheap and destinations are empty, taking 3-week trips on random months. Never mention vacation day limits because they don't have vacation day limits. The woman was available for every weekday activity for 10 years. Tuesday lunches, Thursday morning yoga, Wednesday afternoon walks. Friends assumed she was unemployed but were too polite to ask directly. She never volunteered information, just showed up, always available, always calm. Zero financial stress is visible. 10 years of this. Finally, during a conversation, she casually mentioned retiring at 48. Everyone stopped. Wait, what? We thought you couldn't find work. She'd had $1.8 million invested the entire time. Living off our percent withdrawal, financially independent for a decade. Never mentioned it once because she didn't need to. Her time freedom was her wealth. Announcing it would have just complicated friendships. People brag about not working when they're insecure about it. Rich people quietly have unlimited time without needing to tell anyone. Their availability speaks for itself to people who understand the signal. Everyone else makes incorrect assumptions. Perfect. Time is the ultimate luxury wealthy people buy, but they don't announce that they bought it. Broke people talk constantly about not having to work. Rich people just don't work and never mention it. Availability without anxiety equals wealth. Nobody's advertising. Calendar flexibility without explanation? That's financial independence hiding in plain sight. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because time freedom is invisible wealth. But this next sign is about the visible possessions they choose to own. Sign 4. Everything they own is quality, but there's very little of it. Here's where secretly wealthy people reveal themselves through what they don't own. Walk into their home. Notice anything? It's almost empty. Not college student broke empty. Intentionally minimal. But everything present is immaculate. Quality is obvious on close inspection, just very little of it. This throws people off because we've been trained to think wealth equals abundance. Big closets stuffed with clothes, garages full of equipment, storage units packed with extra stuff. More is more, right? Wrong. That's what broke people trying to fill voids do. Actual wealthy people own shockingly little. But what they own is perfect. Their closet? 15 items total, but each piece fits perfectly. High-quality fabrics, no logos, everything in rotation. No, I'll wear this eventually clothes. They actually use everything they own. 1 watch. Expensive but understated. 3 pairs of shoes. Each one is perfectly maintained. The kitchen has maybe 10 tools, but those 10 tools handle everything professionally. This is the opposite of people performing wealth. The performer's closet is stuffed with fast fashion. Logos everywhere. Wore most items once. Cheap quality falling apart. They're accumulating to compensate for insecurity. More stuff makes them feel successful. An actual wealthy person knows that security needs no excess. And here's the critical tell. Everything's maintained perfectly. The 12 items of clothing, immaculate condition. The furniture, not a scratch. The 3 pairs of shoes, polished and repaired regularly. The kitchen tools, professional quality and spotless. They own almost nothing, but what they own receives obsessive care. A poor person has tons of stuff, mostly broken or cheap. Trying to look rich person has tons of branded stuff, used once and forgotten. Actually, wealthy person has almost nothing, everything perfect, nothing flashy. The minimalism combined with quality is the pattern. Man's apartment looked nearly empty. A friend visited, thought he was a broke minimalist aesthetic. Counted maybe 40 items total, 8 shirts, 3 pants, 1 pair of shoes, minimal furniture. Dude, you need more stuff. A friend looked closer later. $200 shirts, $400 pants, $600 shoes, $8,000 sofa. Total possessions are worth maybe $30,000. Only 40 items, plus $2.6 million invested, nobody saw. His minimalism wasn't poverty. Was wealth secure enough to own less? Quality, not quantity. Each item chosen deliberately, maintained obsessively, used constantly. No accumulation, no compensation, no performing. Just enough. Perfectly enough. Broke people accumulate junk to feel successful. Middle-class people buy a decent amount of decent stuff. Wealthy people own very little, but it's all perfect. Few items, high quality, immaculate condition, 0 logos. Confidence doesn't need excess. Security doesn't need stuff. They could buy anything, choose to buy almost nothing. That restraint combined with quality, that's stealth wealth in its purest form. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss this last detail. Because what they own reveals wealth, but what they never talk about reveals even more. Sign 5. They never discuss money, income, or financial wins. Here's the ultimate tell, and most people miss it completely because they're looking for the opposite. They expect wealthy people to talk about money, drop hints about income, mention investments casually, reference financial wins. But actual wealthy people? Complete financial silence, like never discuss money, ever. Watch how they handle money questions. How much do you make? They deflect smoothly. Enough to get by, and an immediate subject change. What do you do for work? Vague answer, no salary details. Did you just buy that? Simple, yeah, with zero elaboration about cost or how they afforded it. How's your retirement account doing? Just fine, and nothing more. Every financial question hits a wall of polite opacity. This is radically different from how most people operate. Broke people trying to look rich talk about money constantly. I just got a raise. My bonus was insane this year. Check out what I bought. They need external validation. Need people to know they're doing well. The announcement is the point. Middle-class people discuss finances normally, compare salaries, talk about 401k performance, mention what things cost, normal financial transparency in social settings. Actually, wealthy people? Total blackout. You could know them for 15 years and have zero idea what they make, what they're worth, or how they afford their life. Why the silence? Multiple reasons. Don't need validation, they're secure. Avoid loan requests. Money attracts moochers. Prevent jealousy. Wealth changes friendships. Protect privacy. Nobody's business. The silence isn't secretive, it's protective. Discussing money creates problems they don't need. A group of friends met weekly for 12 years. One guy never discussed his career or money. They assumed he made similar to them, around 60,000. Never complained about money, never bragged about money, just silent on the topic. Normal about everything else. Total mystery financially. 12 years of friendship. Then, at someone's wedding, during a toast, he casually mentioned he'd retired at 49. The table went silent. Wait, what? Turns out he'd had 1.9 million invested in the entire 12-year friendship. Nobody knew. Nobody suspected. He'd been financially independent their entire friendship and never mentioned it once. Why didn't you tell us? Someone asked. His answer, what would that accomplish? Either you'd feel weird about money around me, or people would start asking for loans, or it would just make things complicated. Easier to just not mention it. Silence protected his wealth and his friendships for over a decade. Real wealth is so secure that it needs zero announcement. Insecurity is loud. Confidence is silent. If someone constantly mentions money, discusses income, name drops purchases, they probably don't have as much as they're performing. If someone never mentions money ever, deflects every financial question, and maintains a complete financial mystery, probably loaded. Wealthy people's silence isn't coyness, it's wisdom. They learn that discussing money creates more problems than it solves, so they just don't. Financial opacity as a lifestyle. And if you never hear them discuss money, that silence might be the loudest wealth signal they're not trying to send. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. Financial silence protects wealth, but this next sign reveals the cushion underneath that silence. Sign 6. They're completely calm during financial emergencies. Here's the sign that reveals the invisible cushion underneath everything else. Watch how someone reacts when financial problems hit. Their emotional response tells you everything about their actual financial position, regardless of what they drive or wear. The car breaks down, needs a dollar repair. Broke person? Panic. Stress. How am I going to afford this? Payment plan discussions, trying to negotiate down, visible anxiety. That $2,500 is a crisis threatening their entire month. Secretly wealthy person? Okay, fix it, zero emotional reaction. Handles it like ordering coffee. Because $2,500 is an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. Medical bill arrives, $4,000. Broke person spirals. Calls billing to set up payments. Stressed for weeks. That bill is a genuine emergency affecting their life. A wealthy person opens the bill, pays it online, and moves on with their day. Took 3 minutes, zero stress. Not because they're careless with money, because $4,000 doesn't threaten anything in their financial foundation. Appliance dies, $1,200 to replace. A broke person tries to repair it themselves. Look for used ones, delays the purchase, stress about the expense. A wealthy person orders a new one the same day, installed by the end of the week. Problem solved. No stress, no drama, just handled. This calm reveals what you can't see, the emergency fund depth underneath. Someone panicking over $500 has no cushion. Someone calm about $5,000 has deep reserves. Their stress response is a direct window into their financial foundation. Guy's water heater died. A $100 replacement is needed immediately. He mentioned it casually to a friend, like, yeah, water heater died, getting it replaced tomorrow. The friend was shocked. How are you so calm about $1,800? His response, it's annoying but not a crisis. A friend later learned he had $1,000 emergency fund. That $1,800 was 0.45% of his cushion. Didn't even move the needle. His calm wasn't carelessness, was wealth nobody could see. The contrast is brutal. Watch multiple people handle the same financial setback. $500 unexpected expense. Person A, crisis mode, payment plans, stress for weeks. Person B, minor annoyance, handled immediately, forgotten by the next day. Same expense, completely different stress levels. Their reactions reveal their financial cushions with perfect accuracy. Wealthy people stay calm during financial emergencies because they're not actually emergencies. It's Tuesday, just expenses, handled from the emergency fund without touching investment accounts or going into debt. The calm isn't about being careless with money, it's about having depth that eliminates financial panic. Next time someone faces an unexpected expense, watch their reaction. Panic equals no cushion. Stress equals a thin cushion. Complete calm equals deep reserves. Their emotional response is the most accurate wealth detector that doesn't require seeing bank statements. Financial stress reveals financial reality. Calm over large unexpected expenses? That's secret wealth showing itself through what doesn't happen. No panic. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next, because calm during emergencies reveals wealth. But this final sign shows what wealthy people actually value once money stops being the constraint. Sign 7. They value experiences over possessions. But quietly. The final sign reveals what happens when you have enough money that money stops being the decision factor. Secretly wealthy people shift from collecting things to collecting experiences. But here's the critical part everyone misses. They do it quietly. No performance, no social media documentation, no need for anyone to know about it. You'll hear them mention travel casually. Oh yeah, we spent a month in Italy last fall. Wait, what? A month? They drop it like it's nothing. No photos shown, no Instagram story highlights, just mentioned in passing during a conversation, then moved on. Or we do an annual camping trip every September, like it's the most normal thing. These aren't vacation days, they're carefully rationed. They're just going, whenever, for however long. They take classes nobody knows about, learning pottery, taking cooking lessons, studying languages, all done privately with zero social media announcement. Spending money on developing themselves, not displaying themselves. Time with family gets prioritized over work without explanation. They're at their kids' Tuesday afternoon soccer game. No, I had to leave work early stress. Just there. This is radically different from people trying to look rich. Those people buy expensive things and post everything. New watch, photographed, fancy dinner, Instagram story. Vacation, 50 posts. They need the validation, need people to see they're living well. The experience isn't enough. The performance of the experience is the point. An actual wealthy person takes a 3-week trip through Europe, takes 0 photos for social media, mentions it once if it comes up naturally in conversation. Doesn't need anyone to know, because the experience was for them, not for an audience. The trip happened whether anyone else knows about it or not. And here's why this reveals wealth. When you're not wealthy, you can't afford experiences or things. When you're trying to look wealthy, you buy things to display status. When you're actually wealthy, you can afford both, and you choose experiences. Because things lose their appeal after you can buy whatever you want. But experiences, memories, time with people you love, those actually matter. The man took his family on a 3-week European trip every single year for 15 years. Never posted a single photo publicly. Coworkers had no idea he traveled like this. Someone found out accidentally when his daughter mentioned it. "Why don't you post about your trips?" His answer, "Who am I trying to impress?" He had 2.2 million invested, traveled extensively, posted nothing. His wealth bought experiences his family would remember forever, not performances for strangers who'd scroll past in 2 seconds. Wealthy people experienced enough to know stuff doesn't satisfy. Secure enough not to need external validation. Focus shifts naturally from possessions to meaning. But the key tell? They don't announce it, don't perform it, don't need you to see it. They're just quietly living lives rich in experiences while everyone else is collecting things and posting about it for likes. Experiences over things, done quietly without announcement? That's the final sign of wealth, secure enough to need no audience. Now let me tie all 7 signs together and show you what they reveal about real wealth versus performed wealth. Look, here's everything. 7 signs of secret wealth. Drive old cars but everything else quality. Function over status, investments over depreciation. Ask prices but buy without hesitation. Value conscious, not broke. Calculate worth constantly. Unusual time freedom never mentioned. Available weekdays without explanation. Calm calendar flexibility. Few possessions but all quality. Minimalist with perfect items. Confidence needs no excess. Never discuss money ever. Complete financial silence. Deflect all money questions smoothly. Calm during financial emergencies. $5,000 problems handled without stress. A deep cushion underneath. Value experiences over possessions quietly. Travel extensively. Post nothing. Need no validation. Real wealth is invisible by design. Fake wealth performed for strangers. Most millionaires are unrecognizable because security needs no announcement. This week, stop judging wealth by cars and clothes. Look for subtle patterns. Time freedom, calm with expenses, quality over quantity, financial silence. Notice who never discusses money, probably loaded. Comment, "I know one" if you've met someone like this. Secretly wealthy if this describes you. Sign 5 if silence hit hardest. Share which sign surprised you most. What next? Comment 1. How to build invisible wealth yourself. 2. Why the wealthy hide wealth. 3. Fake versus real wealth comparison. 4. Stealth wealth psychology. You're surrounded by millionaires you don't recognize. Old Toyotas, asking prices. Available Tuesdays, own almost nothing, never mention money. Calm with emergencies, quiet experiences. Real wealth whispers, fake wealth screams. Learn the difference. Stop chasing loud poverty. Start recognizing quiet empires.